Hello, beautiful. Welcome to the She Sacral podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Christian. Let's go ahead and get started with today's episode. Hello, sacral beauties. Welcome to the She Sacral podcast, where we focus on burnout recovery through the power of sacred pleasure. Today, we're going to dive in and talk about stage 9, which is depersonalization. And this is when you can start to feel like a ghost to yourself. You really begin to struggle to recognize who you are. In this episode, you're going to learn what it really is all about, why it happens, and how you can start to gently come back to yourself and start to feel good again. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, then welcome. I'm happy to have you. We've been diving into all the stages of burnout throughout this series. So if you haven't tuned into those, definitely check those out as well, so you can figure out what stage you're in when it comes to burnout. So let's talk about what is depersonalization. You can feel like you are watching your life instead of living it. You really feel like you're outside of yourself when you're in this stage. You can experience mostly numbness. There's just no real emotions at all. You can feel very flat emotionally. No sadness, no joy, nothing. Just numb. You can feel like you're just going through the motions without any presence or feeling of pleasure. You could feel emotionally distant from others and even yourself. And you may have this loss of identity where you don't even really recognize yourself anymore. You don't recognize who you've become. When you look in the mirror, you don't even know who is reflecting back to you. And so when you're in this stage, again, we've talked about some of those survival mechanisms of fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And we may feel like we're absent, like we're not here, but truthfully, we're actually frozen. And your body is still here, but it is waiting for you. But inside, mentally and emotionally, you are frozen. So let's talk about the root causes and how this affects your nervous system. When we're losing our identity, we don't look the same. We don't dress the same. We're not doing our habits the way we normally do. We don't recognize ourselves. The freeze or fawn response has been activated after a very long overdrive. So when it comes to the fawn response, this means you have been doing nothing but people pleasing and just kind of allowing for others to take full advantage of you, to just go with whatever other people put on you and to not really stand up for yourself, because that was a way of surviving. If you're freezing, you can even feel like your body has gone very cold or numb. And that's when we just freeze. We completely dissociate. We're just not here at all. And it's all a form of survival. You may notice that your identity has eroded from years of people pleasing or performing or disconnecting from yourself. Your nervous system no longer sees safety in being inside of the body. Your body has been so used to be in overdrive that it just does not feel safe to be here. The nervous system goes into that state of freezing in order to protect you. Hormonally, cortisol doesn't rise properly. And when cortisol doesn't rise properly, you'll run into a lot of fatigue, a lot of brain fog, a lot of apathy. It can be really hard for you to wake up in the morning because cortisol typically wakes you up. You can feel really neutral or low when it comes to your energy levels. You may feel emotionally disconnected and feel a lack of pleasure. And when this happens, your oxytocin, which is your cuddle hormone, your estrogen, and your progesterone, which are responsible for your cycles, start to decrease. So feeling that libido, feeling that pleasure, feeling excitement, feeling good and at ease and good moods and feeling lifted is just not going to be there during this stage. So sometimes we can confuse the stage of breaking down our personalities or our identity as a mindset, but it's actually a survival strategy so that things don't feel too overwhelming to you. So how this feels emotionally is You don't even recognize yourself anymore. You're trying to reflect on who you used to be, and it feels really far away, and you can't even figure out how to get back there. Pleasure doesn't register to you. That's not even on your radar whatsoever, and joy can feel really far away. When it comes to your emotions, trying to cry or anger doesn't even feel possible. You could feel disconnected from your desires, from your passions, from the things that you are committed to doing. You don't even care about it anymore. It's not important to you. It, in fact, triggers for you to feel so much stress. And you can also feel really confused or even ashamed about not having your emotions. So this is when we hit that stage of burnout, when you just don't have the capacity to pretend anymore. You retreat inward and go numb, not because you want to, but because you're energetically just bankrupt. You know, when we talk about in stage 6 of denial, where it's like, oh, I'm going to put on the happy face. I'm going to just say I'm fine. I'm going to just push through like I'm good. You can't do that anymore. And this is when you just feel like you're losing yourself, and it can feel so scary. So I want you to remember that your body still holds the key to reconnection. That's part of the thing I really love about She Sacral, about the podcast, about the community, about everything that She Sacral has to offer is about reconnecting to your body, because that's where you feel again. But safety is built through gentle embodiment, not through forcing the action, not trying to force like you're back again, right? As much as we want to be back again, but it takes a little time and it takes a very gentle approach. And you can absolutely rebuild that presence again through sacred, pleasurable experiences, even if they're really small, consistently. That's how we're going to start to work our way back to getting ourselves out of this space of burnout. And so I want you to know this stage is not forever, but this is what your body is choosing right now, because whatever you're going through has just been too much. It's too loud, it's too overwhelming, it's too stimulating, and it doesn't feel safe to your body. But some small embodiment practices you can do are things like some warm oil self-massages, taking a nice luxurious shower, or even just standing in the shower and just allowing for the water to run down your body. But do it with intention, maybe focusing on how the water is clearing away negative energy or stress or fatigue from your body. You could do some slow dance rituals, just kind of moving your body, moving your hips, moving your wrists, things like that. And I love this because we actually do all of these things in the 30 days of pleasure rituals in the She Sacral community. So that's something that you can do and just kind of have the motivation to do, and we all do it together. So it's a lot of fun. I hope that you join. So before we close out, I want to ask you, what would bring you home to yourself today? There could be anything in the world. What would bring you home? All right. Well, know this, that even if you're in the stage of burnout, it is not the end. It's just a pause for you. And this is just a little invitation for you to come back home to yourself. You really miss yourself. I know you do. I know how that feels. You can miss so many people out in the world, but nothing compares to missing yourself. Nothing. Nothing. So if you miss her, she's right here. She's waiting for you, and you will come back home to her very soon. This concludes our episode for stage 9 out of 12. And up next, we're going to talk more about stage 10, which is when we reach the space of feeling completely empty. So if that sounds interesting to you, then definitely stay tuned for the next episode coming up. Of course, thank yourself so much for showing up today, and thank you for tuning in to the She Sacral podcast.